Okay. This is a $4. What is for my son? All right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Website Building Made Easy. This presentation is very much hands-on. I don't have a lot of slides, as you can see, because it's really not a whole lot to theoretically discuss. What I really want to do is show you how you can build a simple web page or a website using Weebly. That is what we use for our tmd55.org. And I want to just highlight some of the features of Weebly. If you look at the current website building platforms, there are literally tens of them out there. Even the websites or businesses whose main purpose is not to build websites, for example, MailChimp, it's a platform for marketing, but they allow you to build simple websites. There are websites or there are businesses that actually allow you to get a domain name and allow you to build a website. Weebly is one of them. Wix is another one. You probably all have seen Wix web advertisement on YouTube. Even GoDaddy does that. So for our tmd55.org, we have sort of a split model. Our domain, tmd55.org, comes from GoDaddy.com. But our website building software is Weebly, or platform rather, is Weebly. Okay. And you can have any number of websites under a single account. We only have one, but you can have more than one. We are District 55 Trio is launching this marketing effort for which we are going to be building what we call squeeze pages, which are simple, small landing pages on MailChimp itself. Its purpose is to collect leads for new clubs as they kick off this marketing effort through a series of ads going to human resource managers in Austin and San Antonio area. When those people come in and they look at this website, we want them to be able to fill in a simple form and collect their information, so then we can follow up with either request a speaker or start a new club or whatever their interest is in Toastmasters. So for something simple like that, where all your only purpose is to get them interested, have them fill out a form and collect their information for later follow-up, and you want to build sequences such as fill out a form. Once they fill out the form, they get an email with more detailed information or something like this, and their name gets added into the mailing list and so on. For building sequences like those, Weebly is not the best platform. For something like that, whose purpose is marketing, you want to use something like MailChimp. Another thing I want to mention is, as far as the Toastmasters websites go for your clubs or for your area, there is the free Toast Host 2 and easyspeak.org that I believe all of you are familiar with. So you can use those, and they're very easy. They're customized or they are targeted to build Toastmasters websites. So what I'm going to show you today is not limited to Toastmasters website. You can build an entire online store on Weebly. It is used by real businesses to do real business. Of course, it's not the most popular platform anymore. It used to be at one point. There are many competitors, and I was looking up the top 10 today. It's not even in top 10. The number one is Wix. WordPress, which is another very popular platform, was also not in top 10, but I have seen it in top 10 and depending on the list that you are looking at. But Weebly was not on any of them. I would personally love to move our entire website to Wix, but that's an HPL. You have to archive the whole thing, move it to Wix, and then the testing effort of making sure that everything works is enormous. So it's not something that you would just do lightly. Nevertheless, Weebly is a very powerful platform. You can do a lot with it. And that's what we use. And we have a fairly large website. So what I'm going to be doing today is take you through some of the common steps of building the website, also show you how to create cool graphics and stuff if you've never done that before. We use Canva for that. I also want to give you a tiny bit of information about the Toastmasters branding. So when you if you're building Toastmasters website, okay, you have to be aware of the font, the color, the logo, and so on. Okay. So that's really it. And then some odds and ends, other questions you might have. So this is basically our agenda. If I can bring it up, okay. And I won't actually be building anything today, but I will show you a lot of things. And fortunately for you, we just mostly finished our conference website, that conference that's coming up in May. So I have a lot to show you there. It uses quite a few features, if not everything. One of the main things that we don't have on our website, tmd55.org, is a store. And I will be honest with you, I've never set up a store where you can take a payment. But from what I understand, it's very easy to do with Weebly or Wix or any of this. One final note before I start showing you things. If you know how to use Weebly, you know how to use Wix. If you know how to use Wix, you know how to use just about anything. They are all very, very similar. They are mostly drag and drop kind of stuff. And it's kind of a useful skill because it's transferable. Okay, so what you will learn today, even if you were to build your own business on Wix, a lot of stuff you will learn today actually will apply to that one too. Okay, in fact, I've heard that Wix is actually simpler to use than Weebly. So let's get started here. First thing you have to do is sign up with Squarespace. Weebly was bought by Squarespace some time ago. Most of you might be familiar with Square as a payment system. You have those tiny little squares that you swipe your card through. You can plug them into your mobile device. So if you have used Square or are familiar with Square, that's how they set up this whole payment system here. So this, what I'm showing you now, is my personal account. I actually haven't set one up. I did it just to see what I could do. So I started creating one. I never actually finished it, but this is what my site looks like. I don't have a domain or anything to show you. The purpose of this site was simply to show you, I was trying to see the pricing system. So Weebly actually has a free version, a basic version, a pro version, and then there is something after that, like a business version. The one that we use for tmd55.org is actually a pro version. So this is my personal site that I started creating, and I chose the template for restaurant. Seems to be an easy thing to pick, but I haven't actually done it. And the next step that I had to do here was create a domain, and that's where I stopped. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here and take you to TMD55. Before we get into Weebly, though, let me just log out of here for a second. I'm going to move the cams over, log out, close this one. Okay, before we log back into Weebly, let me first make you familiar with our website and some basic things that you should know. First of all, this website, you can think of it as a grid. So think of it as a sort of a spreadsheet, if you will. You can see it already. It's got a menu, a main title page. It's got social media icons, and you can have even more. This is all we have. It has a search box. And then primarily on the home page, what we have is a left column and a right column. The left column on our website is changing content that we are constantly changing. The column on the right-hand side is more or less static content. So the newsletter and the calendar snapshot, pathways, resource library, continuing education, all of this stuff here on the right doesn't change very often. And these are links, these banners are links that take you to those pages. And this is the way our district leadership wanted it organized. So that's how we have done it. Okay. I would be coming July. We're working with our third district director. I started with Wafa and now Melody and whoever the future district director is. But everybody has their own style, and so when they start, they all want to rearrange this. With Melody, with Wafa, I had done this menus one way, and then with Melody, I changed it all around the way she wanted it. So there is a lot of churn often, but that's okay. That's part of the webmaster job. If anybody wants it, let me know. I'm happy to have help. Okay, so that's basically, think of this as columns and rows. Okay, grid. Now, oftentimes people say that for our website, the content is kind of boring. It's just pictures, dry content, information, information, information. But what you should know, this website is not designed for visitors. It's designed for members. We are in the process of creating something for the visitors, like I said, on MailChimp, probably. The other thing that's worth noting here is that this website format, you might see on my screen, there's a lot of white space on the left and the right of these two columns. And that is intentional. It's because it makes it easy to show it on a mobile device. So if you bring this up on your phone, you're going to notice that it actually shows the right-hand column first and then the left-hand column, which kind of sucks because we would want it the other way around, since these banners at the top is the most are the most recent news. So what we would have to do in that case is swap these two columns. I just haven't gotten around to doing it, but a well-designed website would also work well on a mobile device, is what I'm trying to say. By the way, if you have questions, feel free to stop and ask me. I'm happy to answer. Okay. So let me show you our conference page now, the main page. And then I'm going to show you how we actually built it, okay, which is actually very, very simple and straightforward. So here's our conference page, the landing page. And this is the modern style where instead of a lot of words, you have a lot of icons and you pick from the icons. Most of these icons are filled in. So for example, if I go to education session, if I click on that icon, then I'm going to see another grid, right? Organized as this column is better speaker, better leader, better connected. And so you can pick your education session. Another thing you can do is, for example, if you go to DTM ceremony, if you are going to become DTM and get your medal this time, then you can see there's a little bit of text, there's a title, there's the DTM team, there's a link to go back to the main page, and then there's a form that you can fill out. This form in the past was a paper form, but now with this, we can just create a form like this and tie an email address to it that goes to a specific person. Okay. So this is basically how all of it works. I want to show you one more example, which uses tables and tabs. So if we go to agenda, for example, so this agenda here, we have a 3-day conference, and the agenda is organized as Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as tabs. And if you click on each tab, it shows you a table, okay? Table with links and whatever you want on it, okay? All right. So there are different ways of organizing this thing. This agenda file is old, by the way, it needs to be updated. Okay. All right. So now, how does it look in Weebly? First, we're going to go ahead and log in. If you are not a user of a password program, I use LastPass, you should definitely get one. It's very, very useful. All the passwords I have for this website or for my personal use or for my wife, for my family, they are all at least 20 characters, totally random 20 characters. I don't know any of them. The only thing I know is the password, master password to LastPass, and it's kind of very useful. So I would recommend. This one is not, because this one is shared with others, but some of the other ones for the district are even random 20-digit or 20 character passwords, which this software LastPass can automatically generate. You should definitely do that, along with two-factor authentication, which doesn't always work, as Harlan can testify to just today. Okay, this is our website. Basically, it gives you a little bit of data, some statistics on the past week, how many people visited your page, how many unique visits, how many people viewed your page, and so on. It's kind of useful. We don't pay a whole lot of attention to it, but you could if you were serious about it. Okay, so there's a whole marketing tab here that you could use. And you can upgrade it to whatever the business or something. We haven't done that because we haven't had a need for it. Okay. I'm going to go to the edit site. Oh, one other thing, actually, let me go back. If you click under the Toastmaster district, you can see here that you can copy the site. You can also add a whole new site under the same account. So if you want to have multiple domains, you can certainly have that. And we are going to have that very soon for our district. One for the external non-members and one for the members. So this will be the members website primarily. When you come into the Weebly editor, this is what it looks like. And I imagine Wix and WordPress, and they all look very, very similar. One of the first things you notice here is that there is no save button. Okay, there is no save button. But everything you type in here just about gets saved automatically. There's been a few times where I've lost the content. But if you want to be absolutely sure that what you typed in becomes available, visible, you have to hit this blue button on the right. I don't know if you can see it, where my mouse cursor is, on the right upper right corner of my screen, called Publish. Once you hit that button, whatever you put in there, it's out. If somebody happens to be watching your website, they're going to see an update. So you have to be a little bit careful about not publishing something until it's complete, especially when you're working on a large project like this conference pages, which there's quite a few of them. It's always a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you my tip of how I avoid that problem. On the left-hand side, where you can see all these building blocks here, you have title, text, images, gallery. I'll show you an example of gallery, slideshows, and so on. Okay, you can build simple form. And this one is useful. This one is embed custom HTML code. So for example, this calendar here, this calendar is not a Weebly gadget. It's actually a custom code provided by Google. And you just copy paste it in here, and then boom, you have the calendar. Okay. So anything that Weebly doesn't provide natively, you can still do it. For example, if I wanted to create a form that ties back to Google Forms or a Google spreadsheet, I could do that. I just have to write the custom HTML code and JavaScript. I will be honest, I'm not that skilled, but there are plenty of examples available for free on websites and other places. If you just Google for it, it's super simple to do. Actually, it's not complicated. Okay. So let's go to our conference. Okay, one other thing I want to show you. So this is the build menu. If you click on the pages menu, then what you're going to see is a list of our pages. Okay, so this is the long list of all the pages we have. Okay, like that. Now, I told you that if you create a content, a brand new page, for example, that you don't want it to be visible, you still work in progress, then what I like to do is I say, here, click on plus to create a new page. And then I put it at the very bottom. It is not linked to any menu. There is no external link. I say hide in navigation here, so that it's not anywhere. If I uncheck this box, then you will see immediately the menu updates. So I will go and keep it checked. Okay. And so this is a page I created a couple of nights ago as part of this marketing effort. In case you have seen this before, this is a copy paste from District 3, which is in Arizona website. Okay. One of the district leaders really liked it. And so I said, we can start with this. I literally copied it. So there I just made a little change. There was an extra image there with nothing in it. I deleted it. So now if I want this to be saved, I'm going to publish it. Okay. Again, there is no way to get to it. The only way you might be able to find this is if you go to our homepage and do a search. Okay. Do a search for it. My internet is really slow today. I don't know why. I apologize. So for example, if I come here and say start a club, so it didn't even come up there because I typed it in space. If I do that, there it shows up, see? But unless you know this trick, you're not gonna be able to find it. So we have some pages that we want to keep around but don't want to link to anything. But every now and then we want to look for it. For example, we had the Atheria Scott eulogy, and we have moved it to its own page, but it's not linked to anything. If you wanted to look for it, it's still there. You just have to go search for it. Okay. So here are the pages. And so what I'm going to do, there are two ways to get to the pages of interest. The one way is to follow a link. So or menu. So if I go to events and conference, then it's automatically on the left, you'll see that it's going to switch to the conference page. It should be highlighted right here. And then under that, you can see all the sub pages. In Weebly, the way menus are organized, menus and submenus, is a little bit subtle. On the left, you can see the indentation of these items. You see that? Some are on the indented left. The conference is leftmost, so that's the top level. So that's under the events, which is the leftmost. So conference is a submenu under events because it's indented by one unit. And then registration would be a submenu under conference. If I uncheck this box here, hide in navigation, then you will see there. See, it's a submenu now, like that. Okay, so submenus are created in this way. Okay. When you create a brand new page, Weebly gives you a choice. It can be a standard page, it could be a blog, a category, product, whatever, or non-clickable menus. So some of these are non-clickable menus. In fact, they should all be non-clickable menus. This is a Weebly quirk. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, so if you you see visitors itself is not a page. It's just a non-clickable menu. And you have to click something under it. Okay, so back to our conference page. To create anything like this, for example, one of the things that I have to do is, okay, how about we mess around with Harlan's page here, which would be under, where's the fun part here? Networking. Harlan is going to have a great show, networking show, and I need to add some information here. So suppose I want to add some information to this networking page, which would be led by Krista, who's also on the call, I believe. And first thing that I like to do is add this thing here called group. I like to put everything in its own group. The advantage of doing that is that it looks neat when you publish it. Everything is in its own box. And if you wanted to move things around or delete an entire group of things, then it's a lot easier to do. If you're familiar with PowerPoint, this is akin to selecting a bunch of objects and saying group together. Okay, it's a little bit like that. Then inside groups, you can create smaller groups. So for example, one of the things I want to add here is a title. Okay, so I'm going to add a title here. I'm not going to publish this yet. so don't worry. So here's the title, and I can center it and start typing. See, what is it called? Ryan and Harlan show. All right. This is a thing, by the way, or going to be a thing. Okay, under that, suppose I want to put a little bit of information about that. So I put information here. I just drop in a text box and start typing. Come and network with fellow Toastmasters while having fun, something like that. Okay, I can select it and I can change color. Okay, so suppose I want to make this, I don't know. I don't know what we should make it. Let's make it green. Let's make it green. I can boldface it, italicize it, make it bigger, smaller, move it to the center, create a bullet list, numbered list, whatever. Standard stuff that you can do in a word processor, you can do here. Now, suppose I want to drop 2 sections to this within this box. One here, and look, see this blue line that moves around? You see this blue line? You can drop it at the bottom, middle, bottom, left, right, wherever you want. Okay, so it allows you to position it. And then let's drop one to the right of this. Right. Now within this, I want to drop, say, an image. Okay, so here's an image. And here's another image. Should probably call this the Ryan and Harlan show. Okay, let's pick an image here. I think I have Harlan's picture. Toastmasters images. Okay, so I have just about everybody's images here. And boom, there is his image. Okay. One quirk of Weebly is this image file is shared across all images of Harlan in this website. So if I resize one, I resize all of them, which is really annoying. So for this conference, for example, even though I have Krista's website, for example, on Division G, I think, page, I have to have a separate file with a different name if I wanted to, say, crop this image or make it bigger or smaller, because whatever I do here affects all the images across. So it's a quirk I learned the hard way, something you want to be aware of. So here's Harlan's image, and I won't mess with it because it will mess other images. And then if I wanted to drop Ryan's image, I can drop it here, and so on. Okay, so suppose I wanted to drop a video right here. I would just grab this video and drop it right here, right below it here. Suppose they have a preview of what they're planning to do. It would
Hey,
go
Vishal,
right.
I don't mean to interrupt, but can you see if Fiona's in the waiting room?
Oh, yes, I see her. Oh my goodness, sorry.
That's okay. She just 2 minutes ago. So.
Okay, thank you for.
You're very welcome.
For reminding.
Yep.
Okay, so you can upload a video here, for example. Okay, so whatever, I don't know. I'm not going to upload one because it takes a lot of space. One of the things about different Weebly plans or Wix plans is the amount of storage you get. So the Pro plan would have more storage for your images and videos and whatever you want to put on it versus, say, a basic plan. And a business plan would have more than this. Okay, so you have to be, so far I've not run into that limitation, but I am a little bit cognizant of that. I don't try to drop large videos here. In fact, we have almost no videos on our website. What we do instead, we post our videos on youtube.com, and then we create links to our website. So for example, if I now go to, let me go back to the home page for a second, and I want to show you a different thing. Let's go here for a second. And one of the limitations of Weebly that I wish wasn't there is it's really difficult to navigate the pages sometimes. They just haven't figured out how to do it better, which is a little bit annoying. But okay, so here's a web page, and again, you can see all those boxes and everything here, right? So this is called a gallery. And what I've done here is I've dropped a series of images. I can add more images, and each image has a link and a caption. Okay. So each of this is an image. How do you get an image? Well, here's how I do it. Let me show you a practical tip. So you go to, actually, I already had it up. So here's our district account that I always have up at calendar and this YouTube channels. So suppose here's the latest channel, latest video from, get a shareable link. And suppose I want to start showing. What I use is I use Windows crop tool. Okay, so I put the video wherever I want, the right place, right here. And then I just use Windows crop tool, say a snipping tool, new snipping tool. Every operating system has one, and I just select what I want, however much I want, and then that's it. And then just say save as. Hopefully you've all done this, and this is not anything you need to learn from me. Okay, you save it, and then that's basically how I capture a lot of the images. Okay, and then you just drop it in here. And so this is a nice way to create gallery. So this is how we post videos. We don't actually drop the entire video here. It takes a lot of space. Okay. And as I said, it's not so easy to navigate here. So we were at the, not the conference page, but networking page. Okay. By the way, all those icons you see, I found them by Googling. So they are all stolen. Because we are a nonprofit organization, we can get away with murder by stealing other people's art and stuff. If you were a real business, you would probably get in trouble for that. So I recommend that you create your own artwork whenever possible. I have done that. There are places in this website where you will see my artwork. For example, if you go to promotions, and if you go to early bird promotions, so these Toastmasters images are okay. You can use them on the Toastmasters website. But if you're creating fancy artwork for your online store, you can't. You see this? Congratulations, early bird winners. That's all me. Took me all night to sit and draw that. No, I'm kidding. I use Paint 3D to create that simple graphics, but people liked it, so I kept it. Okay. So create your own content whenever you can, and Canva is a great place to go do that, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay, we got 20 minutes left, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. Okay, back to conference. One last thing I want to show you on how to create Weebly. I think you got the idea, right? How to do this basically. Okay, so I'm not going to belabor that point. I just want to show you forms, because forms are incredibly useful on any website. See here, I have a light in my face. I'm trying to, oh, there's this, yeah, then there's this divider. If you drop this divider here, it just creates a nice little spacing, separates things out nicely. Contact form, there it is. So contact form is right here. So suppose it goes right here, contact form. Okay, so it drops in a form like this. And if you click on it, on the left-hand side, you might see now that the menu changed. So within this form, you can add fields. For example, I want to add, I can't see anything. Okay, checkbox. Suppose I want to add a checkbox here. That's how I created those forms for DTM ceremony, or suppose you're doing a TLI and you need like a menu of food to order or education sessions that people want to check off. We use Constant Contact for a lot of that stuff, but you could do it directly here too if you wanted to. We could even set it up to take payment for the conference using Squarespace, but we haven't gone to that level yet, but we might someday. Okay, so here's the checkbox, and then you just, this is all very, very intuitive, common sense. You just kind of go here and you type in option 1, I don't know, let's just call it disco. I don't know, hip hop. Okay, we'll just stop at that. Okay, so you got two options to select here, and required or not. If it's a red dot, it's required. But the important thing here is that under form options, this blue button, you get to type in the email. So suppose that anytime somebody fills out this form, and say Harlan is collecting, what people prefer, right? And people can specify that, then I can send the email to him, and I don't really know his email, so I'm just going to type in Harlan JB, I think, at gmail.com, for example, something like that. Okay, I can change this to contact form to how would you like to have fun? I don't know. I don't know if that's the question you would actually ask, but you could. Oh, it didn't do that. Okay. How would you like to have fun? There you go. And now you have now you have a simple form right here. Okay. If you want to delete it, you just hover over it, and it shows you this little X on the right. Here, come on, stop it. This is a little, okay, so you go here and you hover over it. You can move it around. So if you want to grab this, and suppose I want the form up at top here, I drop it, move it around. I want to delete it, just click on the X, delete the whole block. There, boom, gone. Okay, and publish to save. So that's basically how we do website editing. As you can see, it's nothing complicated. It's quite simple. There are little things you learn over time. For example, here Krista's picture is on the right instead of on the left. You might wonder why. Sometimes the picture is on the left instead of right. Why? Well, that's because we like to put the description on the side the speaker is facing. Right? So if I move this picture, then the description would be on her back. And that's considered a bad practice. So that has nothing to do with using Weebly, but my point is that website development is a little bit more than just knowing how to use the tools. There are also good best practices and norms and etiquette and standards that you have to learn about. And oftentimes it's people who have done this a lot can tell you, hey, don't do that, do it this way. This is the wrong font and color and the wrong type of positioning. So I learned from them. Okay. These social icons here, you can just drop them. So, okay, so that's enough of that. You know how to build the website now using Weebly, okay? So Weebly allows you to create websites. They have a lot of predefined templates. So does Wix. Whether you want to start a blog, or you want an online store, or you want to open a restaurant or an art gallery, or they have a lot of templates. You just pick one and go with it and then customize from there, okay? Okay, any questions? No questions. Okay. Okay, oh, wonderful, easy audience. I want to show you a little bit about Toastmasters branding. So this is a Toastmasters website, so we care about this. If you're doing your own thing, you obviously don't have to worry about this. One of the things is colors. If I just go to Weebly here, and suppose I want to change the color of this text here, networking opportunities, right? And if I go here and say, Toastmasters blue, it's sort of like that one. Well, it's not the exact color. How do I know? You see this color code here? It doesn't match. The actual color is the code 772432, right? And now this is the actual, well, this is the brown, burgundy. But there's a color code for this Pantone. So you have to use this hex code actually. So if I use that hex code here, let's just use it on this word here. All right, so then now I have the exact color. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing, when you're creating this content here for Toastmasters, at least, you have to worry about these logos. There's a size, there's a shape. They don't want you to make it bigger, smaller, all that. Stick to the color scheme. Same with the banners. But one of the ones that actually gets everybody is the font. Sadly, Toastmasters uses fonts from 1800s. Many of the newer software, you can't even find some of these fonts. So the only one that's easy to find is Arial. Everything else is pretty much almost impossible to find. I've never seen Gotham anywhere, but they have different fonts that you're supposed to use for different things. For example, if it's a marketing material, you're supposed to use certain fonts and color scheme. If you're making a banner, this is how you make it. This is where the title goes. You have to use the red arrow. If you're making a slide deck, then it has to be done certain ways. So I just want you, this presentation is available on toastmasters.org. Just look for Toastmasters Branding PPT and you'll find it. Okay. So that brings me to Canva. We use Kathy Moore, our program quality director, and I work together a lot on the website. And because she drives this continuing education program, the conference, so she always has a lot of input. I think I talk to her at least once a day, sometimes several times a day, because she's really on top of things. And so when we create banners for this class, for example, we use Canva to create it. And I think she managed to add the Toastmasters official fonts to Canva, but oftentimes we can't find those fonts. So for example, here's a poster of a continuing education class that I created on Canva. Come on. And this is not official color scheme of Toastmasters. So for example, this font here is not actually allowed, or this burnout blues is definitely not brand approved. So we don't send every single poster out for brand approval, but for the conference stuff, for example, the main conference, the main conference banner you see here, this one is brand approved, and someone from Toastmasters actually reviewed it, said, oh, that font and that color, they don't match. You have to fix it. So we had to go and figure out a way to do this. This poster here was built in Canva. Okay. So just giving you a tip, there are many places like this, but even professionals use this a lot. So it's and they have a lot of different predefined. And the free account is actually pretty nice. I don't have a paid account. This is a free account. Okay. So you can do a lot just with the free account. One other piece of software that I use a lot, is called Email Forwarder, cPanel. What happens is that it's not so much that we want to hide people's personal email. I don't think most people care that much about that, although they want to avoid spam. But other than that, it's not so much of a security issue. More than that, leaders change. In the last week, two area directors dropped out, and I had to go change their email address. So if somebody sends email, it doesn't go to them, it goes to the division director instead. So because of that, we like to add a level of indirection in our emails. And so for that, we use this program or this website called cPanel. And it has a lot of different things you can do here. I have not looked at anything else here. There's only one feature out of everything you see here that I use, and it is called email forwarders right there in the upper left-hand corner. You can create email accounts and stuff, but we don't use it that way either. So we are probably seriously not exploiting this website at all, but you could. So here you can see, for example, area F and G. Every area director has an alias. So this is the real address for Art, for example, and this is the email that you're going to see on our website. So this is a very useful account because this allows me to, for example, allows me to add as many people as I want. For example, Pathways. Pathways is its own alias when it decides to show up, and it has two people on it, Eva and Erica, right? And I can add more. And so anytime somebody sends an email to pathways@tmd55.org, it will go to all the people on this email. And so when you are creating something like a Weebly form where you want multiple people this form to go to, but there's only one email address you can specify in the form, then something like this is useful. Okay. you can tie a bunch of email addresses, and it again, it separates the personal email from the visible email, and the visible email never changes. It's always D55DD at TMD55 for district director. And whether it's Wafa or Melody or whoever in future, you can always send email to that email address and it will go to the right person. Okay. All right. So that's, yeah, Weebly does this. I don't know why it starts shaking like that. Okay. I'm going to get out of here before I, oh, shoot. Wait, stop. Okay, I have to go back and change that banner because Kathy will notice it. All right, so that's really all I wanted to show you. I think in summary, I showed you how our website is created as an example. We looked at the conference pages and different things such as gallery and tables and forms and images and titles and text box and so on. We looked at how to create email forwarders, how to hide pages, how to create the menu and submenus, and some general principles of creating a website as a grid and being aware of the fact that people might view your website on a mobile device, and some best practices such as knowing where to put images, where to put forms. People don't like to scroll, so have your most important content at the top. Landing pages should be simple like this, and then you can have links from there. Sort of like an airport. You go to the airport and or mall and you look up the directory, and then you decide which way you want to go. You want to buy shoes, you want to buy. So that's sort of the modern design. This is probably even not the most modern, but this works for our purpose here. Okay. All right. Any questions about everything I've shown? And I'll show you a little bit about the Toastmasters branding. If for Toastmasters website that matters, for your personal website, it doesn't really matter. Again, there are many platforms. Weebly, Wix is number one, and I have a proposal that I'm putting together for our district leaders to migrate this to Wix because it's just cooler, has more features for the same price, and it's easier for people to operate. But that's like I said, that's the major piece of work, not from the migration process, but from testing point of view, because we don't know which of these features won't work there. We don't know. Okay.
Just have a few quick questions.
Yeah.
First of all, will this recording be available somewhere? I probably need to look at it later if needed, because I use cell phone right now. And will this recording be available later?
Yes, it will
somewhere?
be available on our YouTube channel, and it will also be available in the resource library.
Oh, okay. Also, which website? So basically, there's no free account type of thing. All have to pay, right? If we want to make a website.
Yeah. So with Weebly, I believe there is for quite a few of these, they might give you 10 days to 2 weeks of free trial.
Okay.
But even if you get the free account, there's one other very important thing I forgot to show you. Since we're talking about pricing, let me mention one more thing here. So when you come in and start building your website, by the way, to finish answering your question, Fiona, a lot of these are pretty cheap. Some of them are as little as $10 a month. So they're not super expensive. And if you want to get a domain, your own domain, that's usually $15. So for about $30 or $40 a month, you can have a nice website with your own domain. Okay. All right. So on the left-hand side, where you see all these widgets that you can drag and drop here and customize, you can add more. At the very bottom, I don't know if you can see this on my screen. At the very bottom, it says Add App, where my cursor is. Look at the bottom left corner of my screen. You can see Add App. And if you click on that, Weebly actually has a lot of apps, and so do other platforms. For example, the one that I've been looking at is Automated IO, for example, which allows me to tie a Weebly form to MailChimp. So if you wanted to do something custom like that, where you have to, Weebly apps, you oftentimes need an app, which is, that didn't quite work right. Okay, so let me just show you here. I won't add anything. For example, this Power Form Builder here. Okay, this is an app. This is an app. So if you click on Add App, it will take you to this page here. Okay, and you can select what kind of an app you want, right? You want to boost traffic, spike sales, get social, whatever. Right, so there's different apps. Many of these are free, as you can see. Some of them are free/premium. That is, the free version will give you limited functionality. For example, this form build, there's the Weebly's own form builder, and then there's this Power Form Builder. If I use the Power Form Builder, it limits me to one email address in it and only 6 fields on the form. And if I wanted to build a form with unlimited number of fields, I have to pay $8 a month. So even if you get a cheap Weebly account or a Wix account, if there is an app that you have to have that ties you to a database or a Google form or some backend system or MailChimp or Constant Contact or something else, there is probably an app available for it, but it is probably not going to be free. Okay, so
Do you have one to recommend? I didn't catch. Did you recommend Wix or Weebly for beginner?
If you are starting brand new, I recommend Wix. W-I-X, Wix.com.
Why?
Because it's number one, and if you look at the YouTube videos on how to build Wix websites, which I've looked at a few of them, it's super, super simple. Now, Weebly is also very, very simple, as I showed it to you. It's just a little bit dated platform compared to Wix.
You said data platform?
No, outdated.
Dated. Okay.
Yeah.
Another quick question is images. I think I got some confusing. Sometimes because I teach, I remember one professor also mentioned about copyrights, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I usually just go to Google and then pick a picture and don't worry about it. But I know it's kind of a problem when someone sue you. I just don't have time to deal with that. It's like, what is the deal? Like, I thought if you can Google it, you can use it, right?
No, not necessarily. That's not actually true. I should have included this presentation. I apologize. I didn't think of this, but there is a website which tells you whether a image is actually free for use or not. But you should automatically assume that any image that you get from Google is copyrighted, unless it is explicitly permitted that you use it. Also, any copyrighted material like images or text or poems or songs or anything you can lift might be free for nonprofit, but not for profit, but not free for the for-profit organizations, right? So if you're building, suppose your own business and you use somebody's image, you have to really look at the licensing terms. So this is why I showed you Canva, right? You can create your own. It doesn't take very long. For example, this website building made easy. I created that one on Canva. How long did it take me? About 10 minutes, right? And once you create it yourself, even though you are using images from Canva's palette here on the left, you are okay as far as the copyright goes. Okay.
Oh, you said there's no copyright problem with Canva?
Correct. If you use Canva's images here on the left and build your own images here this way, then you are okay, because this is your own creation. So you have the copyright on this automatically, right?
So just to clarify, if it's not for profit, but it's for like just a blog or personal page, that still is not okay, right? As long as it's not.
Yeah, I mean, you might get away with it, but there's always the risk of, the owner seeing it and I'm not really sure. I would just say whenever you can create your own image, just create your own image. If you don't have time to do it, and if you get somebody's image, at least check it out, right? Things like, what is it, Pinterest and Imgur and some other places, they will they actually have copyrighted images, and you can't just take those, right? Often they would have watermark on it anyways, just to prevent you from stealing it. You actually have to log in and pay. Let me also say that, Pinterest type websites are great because you can buy an image, and they're usually very cheap. They're like 50 cents, $1, something like that. So even if you have to pay for an image, it's usually not a lot of money.
Okay, thank you. I actually have a last question.
Sure.
Just the LastPass you mentioned,
Yeah.
but I know it may have a monthly fee, first of all. Second is
Yeah, it does.
Second is that sometimes if you need to switch to a strange computer, will
Good
that
question.
create a
Good question.
problem?
So you're right. So if I go to Kinko's and I want to print something, right, from a website, then what I have to do is I take my phone with me and I have to type in the password. It is a pain, but unless that library computer or the Kinko's computer or whatever, somebody else's computer allows you to add an extension here, then you can just add the extension, enter your master password, and log out. Remember to log out before you leave. But a safer thing to do for your own safety and security is to just, enter it by hand on a public computer. So there is an app for the phone. It's on my home screen. There's the LastPass app. I don't know if you can actually see it. You probably can't see it, but that's the way I do it. But it is very useful because we have a family account, and my wife has her own passwords that I don't have access to. I have my passwords that she doesn't have access to. And then we have common passwords for a lot of our kids stuff and bank accounts and other things that we both need access to. So it's really great.
Yeah, the only concern is sometimes if I need to teach in a classroom, sometimes I cannot always use my laptop. Then I can't imagine inputting 20 words password into a new computer.
So for something like that you need frequently from other computers, you might want to simplify your password so that one of the simplest passwords you can make are long sentences these days. Cow jumped over the moon. That's a good password, right? And it's
yeah.
not, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, one last thing, and then I'm going to let you go unless you have more questions. I want to mention this to you is search engine optimization. So when you build a website, you want your website to show up when somebody Googles it. In order to do that, there are many search engine optimization companies such as SEO, Cockpit, for example, would allow you to look at your business, or you input some words in there, and it will give you a set of keywords that you should put into your website, so that when somebody is searching for snowboarding, I don't know, roller skates, right? Your website comes up on the first page of Google, right? So to do that, once you have made the home page, for example, what you then do is on Weebly, at least, there is this SEO settings. And here you can see I put a bunch of meta keywords. Now, for this particular website, tmd55.org, we only have it for our homepage. We don't have it for anything else. But the external website, the squeeze pages that we're going to build with MailChimp, we are going to, by the way, a squeeze page, if you're wondering what that is, it's a simple landing page. That's all it is. It's a landing page that's very, very simple. We're going to add a ton of keywords there, because anytime somebody's looking for Toastmasters in District 55, we want them to hit our thing. So adding keywords like Toastmasters, pathways, communication skills, leadership development, whatever, speaking, speech contests, you can go overboard with it. It's very, very useful, and it will make your website show up in the searches. It's called SEO, search engine optimization. Okay, any last minute questions before I close the call? Well, thank you very much for attending this presentation. I really appreciate it. I'm going to stop the recording now.